Welcome back to the Tracy Take. Today, Ryan and I are going to be going over the Minnesota Vikings and Carolina Panthers. Amazing overtime game. KJ Osborne had an amazing touchdown dive to win the game for Minnesota. We're going to break down some of the other aspects and kind of where this leaves both teams moving forward. But before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell so you can get notified when we create new content. Like this video, comment on this video, let us know your thoughts. And Ryan, let's get into it. What a
Let's
game.
do it.
We are both very high on these teams. Both Minnesota and Carolina could be 5-1 at this point in the season, but just have had some
hmm
close games. I think they are both playoff caliber teams, as we have seen here. And Minnesota definitely seems to be picking up and starting to hit its stride as we get into the middle part of the season. The biggest thing for me when I stand out to this is obviously Minnesota is going to do Minnesota, but I'm looking at Carolina's stats, and they miss Christian McCaffrey big time.
Oh
Sam
yeah.
Darnold
Oh
going
yeah.
17 for 41 for 207 yards, a pick, and one touchdown. They only have 118 total rushing yards to go with that. So not really a
Yeah.
stellar offensive day. Their defense is really was kind of keeping them in
Yeah.
kind of in check, really.
Well, I mean, if you told me that they put up 28 points after the statistics, Chuba Hubbard, their leading rusher, had 60 yards and a touchdown. Sam Darnold had what you just said,
40. Oh yeah,
20
200.
207, 207
Yeah,
passing yards.
he
So
had 48
I
rushing
would have,
yards.
I would have never guessed. They got lucky. They got a block punt touchdown. So for me, I think Carolina has something to hang their hat on in the fact that they played so bad and still almost beat what I think is a good team. But at the end of the day,
Yeah,
you can't have moral victories when you lose. So
yeah,
I, it's a tough loss. They're now 0-3 without Christian McCaffrey, and Sam Darnold looks like he's struggling a little bit in
hmm
uh, in that system without him back there. And so
oh
there's cause
yes,
for concern. I was really impressed with Minnesota. I mean, they have so many weapons with Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, uh, Irv Smith getting involved and all that. So
yeah,
uh,
hmm
I I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I mean, this was great football all around. But
yeah.
I think these teams are about to head in two different directions. So
Well, so it just kind of so if you look at the Panthers, uh, like losses, they let's find it here. They barely lose to the Eagles. They should have beat the Eagles. They they did like that score was against Dallas was closer than it should have been. Because
mhm.
Dallas got a big lead early, and then Carolina kind of clawed its way back at the end, but just came up just short. But
Mhm.
they could still be 6-0. It just seems like
Yeah.
it's errors on the offensive side of the ball. It's errors on Sam Darnold. His picks have gone up a little bit, and when he's
Yeah.
got a QB rating of 55, that's not going to help the team out and
No, yeah.
that's where Christian McCaffrey, who's now on the IR, I think he's going to miss the next 3 games. Um, that's where you really see uh, how great he is for this offense because it's a totally different dynamic. This team is like he can run at, he can obviously go do those routes. He opens the game up for
Yeah.
DJ Moore,
He's
Robbie
a safety
Anderson.
valve.
Yep, yeah, and so that's going to be. I mean, needing him to come back is going to be crucial. It's good to see Chuba Hubbard getting some good minutes, and I know the Minnesota
Yeah.
front four is pretty tough. They have a pretty solid run game, so it's kind of tough for him to
Mhm.
get things going. But Christian McCaffrey just adds that whole new level, and it really takes a lot of pressure off Sam Darnold and the rest of that offense. So they're going to need him
Mhm.
to get healthy. But then you look then on the other side of
Yeah.
the coin with Minnesota, who could be 5-1, could be tied with the Packers right now in their division. Seems like they're finally hitting their stride. Dalvin Cook, 140 yards, as you mentioned. Yeah, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. It seems like they're rotating on who's going to have the big game because it's an
Yeah.
ultimate mismatch. You need to have a great CB1, and then a really good CB2 to be able to cover both guys. But then at the same time, as you already mentioned, you got Irv Smith Jr., you got KJ Osborne as well. They have a whole other cast
Yeah.
of characters. Um, so
Mhm.
Minnesota is going to be a team to watch. I really think if Kirk Cousins keeps it up and that offense keeps moving, they're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I left off on was I think these teams are about to go in two different directions. I really think that the Minnesota Vikings are about to go on a little bit of a win streak here. Um,
Hmm.
Next week they do have to play the Cowboys, which is tough, and then, well, okay, maybe I take that back because they have a tough next four games, but they have to go to the Cowboys, Cowboys at home, to the Ravens, to the Chargers, and then versus the Packers. But with this team,
Yeah,
none of those games are like out of the question. They could show up and really put on a performance. I
yeah.
mean, I don't think they've lost any game by more than one score.
I don't think so.
No.
Not coming off the top of my head.
Uh-uh.
Um, they do have,
No,
yes. So
because
they
it's
have a
Bengals, they lost by a field goal. Cardinals lost by
lost by,
one, and then the Browns they lost by
yeah,
a touchdown.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
so
I will. They are going into a bye for week 7, but then yeah, week 8 they're picking things up with a tough schedule.
oh, okay. It doesn't say
Hmm.
that. It doesn't
Yeah.
say bye on ESPN. It just has the next game. But
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I think it's a good performance to go in on a bye, uh, get some momentum, and just
Oh
kind of
yeah.
keep building on it. Get some rest, and then come out against those Cowboys nice and strong next in the next couple weeks. So,
Yep.
but and
Yep.
then
I agree with that.
I guess on the flip side, I think the Panthers are still trying to find an identity without Christian McCaffrey. They look somewhat lost. So
Yeah, but one of the benefits though, so next week they are going to New York, and if you want to talk about a lost
yeah,
team, that is definitely a team that is um, not really sure who they are or where they're at, and they're struggling with a whole load of injuries. But one of the benefits though is week 7, obviously at the Giants, week 8 at the Falcons. I know I'm a big Falcons fan. I'm going to bet on Carolina in that game, unless if something drastic happens. Then they're hosting your Patriots. That one's going
yeah,
to be a tough one. I think it's going to be a defensive game. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. And then they're going to the Cardinals.
yeah,
So they have a relatively their next 5 or 6 weeks relatively easy with a hard game in there with the Cardinals and the Patriots. They can win, but they should be able to beat the Giants and the Falcons if they're the team that we know that they are. So it's
yeah.
going to they're going to need to bounce back. They're going to need to play steady football, not turn the ball over as much, and keep moving from there.
Yeah, no. But when Christian McCaffrey comes back, they could definitely be a team that makes a late wild card push. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously Tampa Bay 5-1 is most likely going to win that division. So, I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see. I think the Carolina Panthers can turn it around, but we'll just have to wait and find out if it will actually happen. So yeah.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
all in all, I think that is going to do it for this episode of the Tracy Take. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought of this episode today. All right. And we will talk to you guys next time. Thank you.